how you doing? I am working through a couple little issues. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with software. But today we have a charger. We have this beautiful orange Daytona edition charger. We're going to be doing 20% carbon on all the sides and the rear, and we're going to be doing 50% ceramic on the full windshield. It's going to be nuts. I'm excited for this one because anytime I get a charger, it's a good day. They got some difficulty on the back window. We'll go over that. It's definitely nothing new. Been doing these for a long time, and this should be fun. I'm trying to sort out what's going on right now because hopefully that fixes it.
Stream element spot running. Dual boy.
Okay, well, that'll work for now. I'm using some old software that I used to use. Oh god, this voice is so much different. But at least it works. Can I make it bigger? Oh, I can. Well, that's good. I don't know if that's legible, but that is bigger. Something like that. Well, it's an option, and it's better than nothing. So, the software that I usually use to broadcast is just having a major YouTube hiccup, which means that my text-to-speech doesn't work. So if that doesn't work, then the whole thing is. But I found another solution that I used to use that seems to be okay for now. It's just got a really bad voice in comparison, so I'm seeing if I can change it right quick. Voice. Oh, there's a whole bunch of them. Maybe this one? Maybe Microsoft David. Maybe that's it. Doing the same car in purple? Hell yeah. That's awesome. Alright, where's my YouTube one? Ugh, I need you guys to chat, not me. That's the voice. Okay. Let's get this going then. Everything else is set up. We got a lot of work ahead, so we can get started. All right, this is good enough. As long as I have my text-to-speech in one way, shape, or form, should be good. I was thinking of you this weekend as I removed tint from my car. How'd it go? Removals are always so much fun, I know it. So I guess we keep this. See this? See this window right here? This is different now. Yes! At least I have the same voice. Will you be doing the defrosters trick on this charger? That's the only way. So, on chargers, I'm going to have to say this like 500 times, and I know I always will. But chargers like this, Challengers, Mustangs, and 300s, those are pretty much like the more recent body style. There's the first body styles, like in the old Mustangs and stuff. It's like the latest model body style on the Mustangs that have been out for like quite a few years now. All those, you have to turn on the rear defrosters, get them nice and hot. And that helps with the tint adhering to the defroster lines. What's sold out from Geo? If they don't have it in inventory, I don't have it in inventory. You run the defrosters to help with tint removal. I mean, in theory, yeah. Keeping them warmer than not is always beneficial, but for removals, a steamer's gonna way outperform so just use that instead. You really need like a halfway like it's super helpful to have a halfway decent steamer to remove tint on the back windshield. Need some 60-inch film for Tesla back window. Oh, I don't have any 60-inch. They really, like, did you try contacting them? 60's like one of the main things that they should have, because that's how they get all their other rolls. Unless it's Pro Classic, then that's more 72. Alright, so we're doing some prep. I was so bummed. I was going to try to go live and do things a little bit differently. Like, I was actually going to just start with prepping the car and then, instead of sitting in front of the computer. But then I had all these software issues, so I'm just running a little bit behind at this point. But no rush on this one. It just went to go start it, and then it's like, error. And I'm like, yay, perfect. I already started all my cameras. That won't be a problem. Why does some older film separate during removals? Because it's crappy film. It really is. Like, it's just bad old polyester, and not all tints are created equal. So your tint on a car, it's constantly getting abuse from the sun. Just all day, every day, it's getting sun exposure. And so polyesters will like crack and dry out. The glues will bubble up. So when you have some high-grade stuff, it'll just stick a lot better together. But cheap stuff, that's where you see a lot of ugly purple bubbled window tint jobs. Sometimes they can happen within a year or two. And then they'll just sit on the car for years and years. But that's the worst. When you go to pull film off of the glass, always make sure both those layers get pulled off together, because if the outside layer pulls off, then you're left with a real thin, fragile inner layer. And then you can't get any chemicals on the glue because that thin plastic layer is blocking it like a little Scotch tape. And then you're sitting there trying to pick every last little piece off of the defrosters, because if you just take a razor blade, then you're going to damage it. And we don't want to do that. Did a removal this weekend and the film changed colors completely in about 3 years. Yeah. Yeah, cheap films, cheap dyed films especially, like the dye color does not So in order to make a color, going back to classroom, in order to make a color, you need to put different colors together. And so they combine some colors, they have the dye color that they want, but dye fades at a separate rate. So certain colors will fade faster than other colors, causing the film to definitely completely skew and change color. You'll see that with like leaving a t-shirt out in the sun or special things. Where did I put the key now? We're just... Oh no. Oh no, I did that thing. I did that thing that I try to never do, and that's I took the key out of the car. I put the key down somewhere. Did I leave it in a pocket? Let's first check a pocket. I don't think so, but I'm gonna check. But I do that thing. I blame it on Restream today because technical problems. That's fair. Oh, we found it. We put it in a jacket. We had it started and everything, took some pictures, but we found the key. So that's good. So I did one thing. I already took the mirror bracket off of this because we are going to take the mirror, get it out of the way, and I'll show you. It's actually really simple on these ones and the Rams to take off. When they have the ADAS systems, I don't touch them. So keep that in mind. If it's a relatively straightforward setup with like maybe a rain sensor, some modern, not super flashy new camera stuff, I'll take them off. All the ADAS systems though, leave those in place. So this one doesn't have one right there. Let's get this prepped. We're doing 20. So we need that. We need this. Any tips on working on windows that are exposed like a Corvette? Watch the videos of me doing those. I don't really have any outright tips for you because they're a little bit more straightforward than a regular framed window is. You'll still cut it to size, and then you can just peel the whole thing and tuck it all in one go. So if there's anything more specific that you're having problems with, but as far as general tips, sometimes they're a little easier than regular framed windows if they slide in right. But this is all framed, whereas on the Challenger we would have frameless. I don't think I ever thought I'd miss doing Chargers regularly, but Chargers were one of those cars where I did so many Chargers, and I just don't get them quite as much as I used to. But every once in a while, we have one that comes in, and I'm very happy. Chargers are very straightforward when you know how to handle the back window. What's your slip solution? So I use 3/4 Dawn, and where's my, there it is. 3/4 Dawn and 1/4, no, sorry, 3/4 baby shampoo, 1/4 Dawn. So I have a 3-gallon tank. There's about 2.5 gallons of water in there right now. So I'm a little soap heavy, but with this film, it's pretty helpful. Take a little time to figure out, like, if just straight up baby shampoo is gonna cause your film to slide around nice because there's a lot of films out there that don't require that much soap. But if you're using the same stuff as me, you'll need a little bit more soap. You still have the bunnies? Yeah. Yeah, I need to put them somewhere or just throw them out. See, I have one giant chocolate bunny that will still make some sort of great demo, and then there's the aftermath of the other one. But there's way too many times, like I hate when this happens, there's way too many times that something has no use, and I feel like it will, and then if I throw it out, all of a sudden I'm like, ah, damn, I wish I had that thing. And there's been a few times lately where that has been especially helpful recently. Like having, like when we went to stream the other day and all my batteries were dead except for one that I had laying around the shop that wasn't quite the right size, but it still works. And it actually allowed me to stream that Mustang Mach-E by keeping it around. So if I threw it out, I would be really sad that day. But yeah, I don't know what to do with them yet. Have you really noticed a difference with your install since using the Lowe's tape? Sometimes. There's a lot of cars where no, but where it really shines is like when a car's a little bit older, it's got some crud in the seals, and then I'd have like a couple little random speckles on the sides that I'd touch up. Nothing big, but just real small things. Now I don't have to really do that like at all anymore. So it definitely makes a difference. Not a massive difference, but especially when you're new, it would make a huge difference because you're gonna fight with the seals a lot and look at it like just putting a brand new seal on the car. So if you have a new truck that comes in for a couple front doors, you know, you're usually like super clean on something like that because it's a brand new truck. Seals are brand new. When you get into something that's a little bit used, dirt naturally builds up on all that. So it's been good. I've been really happy with it. There's a handful of things that I do now that I'd call, if I looked at how I tinted like a handful of years ago, I'd see what I'm doing now back then and go like, oh, that's kind of pointless and excessive. I'd love to tint a car in like an hour and kind of show you what I would leave out at this point. I wouldn't really clay bar much. I wouldn't cover paneling. I wouldn't spend as much time on any one particular step. And I'd still have a nice tint job at the end of it, but it just wouldn't be quite as good. There'd be little things. So you can tint really, really quickly and have a great tint job. But this is like, you know, I'm doing this right now to make sure that I can look at the glass way better and then also apply the glass aid nice and clean. Otherwise, I just go wipe it off with a towel. I'd wipe off the windshield with a towel. I'd put a dryer sheet on it, and then I'd cut right on the glass. So that would save me some time, but at the risk of damaging the glass. Something I don't like to do anymore, but lots of guys do it all day, every day. I mean, Most of the time you're fine. But there's always that one case when you're not. Yeah, I definitely charge more now being here, taking this much time per car. What's this tape called? Glass Aid. Normally I'd drop a link in the description for you, but... Or actually, there are links in the description. Normally it would drop a link in the comments, but we can't do that today. But just literally Google search Glass Aid and you'll find it now. Handful of tool distributors like Sun Distributing, Tint Depot, and a lot of the other popular ones, they carry it actually. So it's pretty easy to find now. What is the purpose? To add a nice white pinstriping to every windshield. No, it's so when I go to cut, I don't risk scoring the glass at all. There's a couple of other ways that you could do that. They usually involve taking the film and putting it on a different surface. So you could, you could literally just put the film on, shrink it, and draw your border with a Sharpie or something, and then take it over to a glass board, cut it out. When I was really mobile, I didn't have that luxury. So everything had to be on the car. So that's kind of where it got its roots from. It's small, it's easy to take with you, and it was just something that you could do to help protect the glass without risking damaging, if you mess up the windshield on a full car, that is typically going to be more expensive, especially nowadays, than tinting the entire car with the windshield. A lot of risk to go on just one piece of glass. Oh, I see what it's doing. I'm actually going to close that. Don't buy the other one that says similar to Glass Aid. Yeah, because it's not the same. And here's what it'll say. If you like the utility of it, if you want to put a liner on your windshield and then be able to see where you're cutting, you can do that with any pinstriping. Just wipe it with a dirty towel. They'll never see the scratch. That's exactly what I'd have to do. You are spot on. There were times that I've, you're doing 4 or 5 cars in a day. The shop doesn't give you time to slow down. And then you're just doing your thing. You're snapping blades. You're trying to be as safe as you can. And the next thing you know, there's a scratched window. Like, shit, man. I'm just trying to do my job here. But you're under pressure from the shop to kind of keep up with the day. They got to make their money too. So as safe as you can try and be, there's just eventually that one window that'll get the best of you. But yeah, wipe it off with the towel, cross your fingers. I've definitely seen that before. Or you go to retint a car that somebody else tinted before, and you just look at the edges, and you're just like, oh, dear God. Okay, so this is all nice and prepped now at this point. Windshield, back window. So we're going to let those dry as we work on the sides. So we're doing carbon 20 on all the sides and rear, and then we added a ceramic windshield, which is super cool. What's the Lowe's tape for? It's to keep everything extra clean on all the sides. And then it helps my door covers stick. Because if I just try and put the door covers... If I just try and put the door cover on the door, it doesn't stick. It needs like a surface, and this tape has a little bit more grip. How much you're paying for your software? So Film Cut is $85. Hey! Well, that worked. That's super cool.
Daniel Rayner super chatted $9.99. Good morning, Lord Tint Master.
Daniel Reyna, good morning. Daniel Reyna with a 10, thank you. Really appreciate that. It's extra morning over there, isn't it? Still feels early for me, but I'm getting a late start with my software problems. Okay, so the software, though, that I'm using is called Film Cut. It's $85 a month, which is about as... Actually, that's as cheap as it comes for plotter software. It's been really helpful for rear quarter windows and back windows. Plotters are always a big can of worms for me. Because you can't get the same cut on your top edge with a plotter. You just can't. Every window is a little bit different. And most of them, the way that they put them in the software, they can get close, but they can't get that close, which is usually good enough for a lot of people. And then sometimes the doors are just all types of wonky across so many different softwares. I'd have to get a bunch of different software to show you guys, but it's harder and harder now to get software unless you're a dealer. There's like a handful of ones that don't need you to pick up any sort of film. And then some of the more notable ones, unfortunately, are pretty locked down now. At this point, I think I've tried 5 or 6. I've tried DAP. I've tried Precision Cut. Hello, Tint Studio. Yeah, sure. Okay. Sure. For sure. Yeah, I can definitely help you out with reverse rolling. I mean, I kind of have the same issues when I go to reverse roll a back window myself. I like to carry them in instead rather than reverse rolling a lot of the time. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So the point of the class is really like to focus on what you really need to get out of it. So I'll give demos on everything, but I told this with the last class. Anybody, if you have your own vehicle here, you have something in particular that you want to know, I want to be sure that we spend some extra time to cover those things, because that's a huge part of a class, is trying to figure out like where your weak points are and trying to build those up. For sure. Okay. No, that sounds great. Yeah, it sounds like you're definitely at that point where a class would be really helpful for those little refinements and stuff. Awesome. Looking forward to it. Yeah, we got a couple spots left, so it'd be awesome to have you for the April class. Yeah, man, no problem. I look forward to seeing you then. All right, see ya. Cool. All right, back to this. Which we never really stopped, but sometimes I got to figure out that phone situation. Looks like we got another sign up for April, so then we'll have 5 people scheduled for coming out for the April class. There'll be 1 more spot, and then there's still spots for, there's like 3 spots for May, and then June is also opened up. So June is completely available right now. For your template on roll-down windows, how much longer do you leave extra at the bottom to tuck it in order to avoid future peeling? Woo! I'm waiting for it. Sometimes it's a little slow.
Daniel Rayner super chatted $9.99.
Daniel Rayner.
Hand cut is best. But when you do 3 to 5 cars a day it's faster. DG cut software has worked for me. Especially after 45 years of hand cutting.
Aw, that's super cool. That's, preach it. That's the major difference right there. Daniel Reyna. So, with the 10, thank you. 45 years of hand cutting, Digi software has worked for me. When you're doing 3 to 5 cars a day, it's faster. I agree. You're basically hiring somebody to handle all your cutting for you. That's a way to look at a plotter. So is that plotter gonna shrink the windows? No. Is it gonna prep the glass? No. You can teach a lot of people actually to just kind of run it for you. Or even if you want to do it yourself, across a full day, it'll definitely save some time. So is it as exact of a result? No. But is it usually good enough? For a lot of people, yeah. And then if you want to still go through and cut your top edges and whatnot, you can. On trucks, it like, really anywhere where you have a ceramic border, it's amazing for that. It's just where it falls short, and I talk about it a lot, are top edges. Because I can go through and I can trim a top edge, I can refine it, I can make it look as close as I can, and everything's cut to spec. So there we go. Let's get this. We're going to refine this one a little bit more. So I can go back and I can cut these out. I can touch them up a little bit. Plotter's kind of like a one-shot go. And if it's not programmed right, then it lets you down. Do you ever file the edges? No. No, I honestly would love to be able to take like a filing class with somebody. I just want to get some pointers on it in person from somebody. I really would like that. Lots of people show videos, talk about it, and like I've been able to do it with drawing out the windows. Obviously, you need to do that for filing. But yeah, I wish I was better at trimming off the top on like the inside. But from what I've tried, I've never really had anything consistent that I felt like I could rely on without risking the entire window and then having to start over again and again. And at that point, like we're honestly like splitting hairs. Somebody said they're thinking about booking up the. I'm debating on taking the last spot. Figured. I'm debating taking the last spot. I had to figure out where to book a room, make up my mind about if I'm driving a car or renting one, have the money to buy stuff when I'm there. That'd be cool to have you, man. Yeah, I can't make that choice for you. And we also have classes booked a little bit later too, but yep, one more spot left for, it's gonna be one more spot left for April. So the phone call that I had, he was asking about reverse rolling, specifically on back windows. So that'll be good to go over that type of stuff, because that's really what this, like, hey, there he is. Good. I was the person that just called about the class. Oh, you, Lucas. What's up? You're here all the time. I didn't know that was you. I've had Hemi chargers 2 days in a row, and they are ass. Oh, they're not that bad. So you'll see me reverse roll the windshield, and you'll see me carry in the back window. And you said you're 5'10". I'm actually 5'8", so if I can carry in a back window, you can definitely carry in a back window. But I know that when people learn reverse rolling, it's way more comprehensive. Like it's less juggling. It's pretty straightforward. You roll it up. It's pretty methodical. I always get caught in the back window with a reverse roll. Dang. That's an interesting way to do it. Take one class and then take another class. Yeah. Yeah, he definitely tints a little differently than I do. Everybody does. If you make some friends in like the groups and stuff too, you could just ask. Sometimes, like when you make friends with other shops, just like swinging by, talking to them and seeing how they do stuff in person, like it's really interesting. Some people are more than happy to show how they do stuff. Yeah, it definitely is. I always say find a style that you kind of gravitate towards, focus on learning that, and then keep an eye out for some other perspective on things. But build a foundation off of somebody's style, and then you can kind of you kind of know how to adapt something to what you do at that point. So there were some people I would see, they would talk all day about everybody else's style, like, oh, well, this person does it this way and this person does it that way. And they never really focused on any one particular thing. So at least focus on one, learn that, and then broaden out. Because there's people that have definitely told me, you know, they like the way that I install, but they feel more comfortable taking doors apart. And that's totally cool, man. The end goal is a good job for your clients, not to make me happy. Here, let me get this one. I used to Frankenstein the front and the back. Damn. I used to do Frankenstein on the windshield, and I could just tell it wasn't a great way to do it. Nobody around here, though, that I talked to reverse rolled. It was like a new thing at the time, or definitely seemed that way. Anybody that I talked to, they installed it like me. Same thing with windshields. Or they had a second set of hands from somebody, so they'd have somebody else like grab the other side of the tint, and they'd both carry it in kind of like together. And then I saw people reverse rolling, and I'm like, okay, I need to get this down. And what would happen is the speckles on the side. Honestly, that still happens sometimes. Can't 100% explain why, but it just does. But I've done a few things that have really helped those out a lot. Because I kind of had to learn that off of videos on my own. How long have you been tinting? About... I have to do the math again, but I'm pretty sure we're going on 15. Could be 14. 14 or 15 years this summer. Or I can let you guys do it for me. So I was... 2009, I went to aviation mechanics school. I graduated high school in 2007. And I was detailing and learning car accessories. And then, okay, so I actually started tinting, I think, in like summer of like 2009. That's when our window tinter, I think, quit. And I was going to like aviation mechanics school. So I was doing like auto accessories, and then he quit. And then they're like, hey, you want to learn window tint? I was like, yeah, sure. It makes more money. Why not? And then I finished school, and then I just kept tinting. They would make jokes. They're like, you're going to be a lifelong tinter. And I was like, nuh-uh. And now I'm a lifelong tinter. But I heard this thing. God, it was really frustrating. Like, there's a couple people, this was around like, so 2009, 2007, 2008, 2009. So I was looking into aviation mechanics school about 2007-ish, around the time I was graduating. And so there was our tool salesman. He was a former sheet metal mechanic, and then there was there was somebody else at the church that I went to. And unfortunately, the sheet metal mechanic, he broke his arm in an accident and couldn't do quite the sheet metal work that he once could. So they had him on as an instructor for a while, and then they let him go. So teach people a bunch of stuff, and then, sorry, we don't need you anymore. And then there's another guy he was more expensive as a mechanic, and then they kept hiring in younger people and eventually just laid them off. So what really always scared me about that is so much of your future is dependent on big corporations doing well and keeping you around and having this idea that as you get built up, you make more money, then, you know, you have a secure job there. But as a young mechanic, you'd hear about all these amazing opportunities. So then I kind of put 2 and 2 together, and I'm like, oh wait, I think I'm gonna work here for a long time, and then shit's gonna happen. So that always freaked me out. What does the heat shrinking do? So heat shrinking forms the film to the curve of the glass. Every window has, like car window, has a curve to it. And the film is flat, so you need to form that film to fit the curve of the glass, or you'll have those really annoying bubbly spikes that people call fingers. Does the heat gun burn the race deck? Oh, no. No, the end of the heat gun is always kind of propped up off of the floor, so there's about like this much space. Yeah, or else I'd be really, really sad if that was the case. Imagine that. Where'd my clay? Oh, do I have? I don't think I washed them. I think I filled up my tank and then walked away. I think I gotta go over here. Yep. And let me rinse these things. This was from the other day. So we have, what are they called? Laminated front doors, tempered back doors, and then tempered windshield. Or sorry, tempered back glass, laminated windshield. All windshields are laminated, but especially on laminated front doors, they'll get like a lot of scuzz. And then I've seen these defrosters leave, like, you just pull a lot of black crap off of them when you go to clean them. So we'll make sure we got a couple of fresh ones. And possibly a razor blade. What's the hardest car you've tinted? I always have to think. Usually classic cars. The most recent was like, so we did a Vat, but that's pretty tintable still. I did a Porsche 928. It's like a 95 Porsche. That one, that took most of a day. So there's still new cars that'll give you a big headache, but they're a lot more straightforward than they used to be. Early 90s, 2000s, they were starting to get like more simplistic, but they're still they were doing a lot of weird things with cars. When you go back into classic cars though, you get a lot of extra weirdness, like no ceramic edges, sometimes like chrome trim with like butyl edges, and it's just, they're old, they're dirty, and you have to cut them so exact that it's just really, really difficult to get a nice result on it. But I've seen the glue trick. That's really, really cool. Have you gotten a Rivian? No. No, I'm not near the factory where they're putting those out, so at least not that I know of. So maybe one day. The coolest new electric one that we had was the Mach-E. And that's really straightforward. I see some like Hummer EVs and stuff going around here, but I haven't got a call for one yet. We'll get there one day. I like the look of the Mach-E. There's some people, I think it was pretty split though. I really like the like X6 Mach-E Evoque like hatchback style SUV. I don't know. I just always thought that's a pretty cool looking car. But there were other people that were saying it was basically a Escape. The Escape E. I disagree, but I can see some similarities there. Oh, good timing. A lot of people got hung up on the Mustang naming. Yeah, I heard.
DC Customs and Detailing super chatted
DC.
$5. Hello Master, do you think it's a smart idea to just have 40 inches rolls instead of having different sizes? Most of the time I cut my film in half for doors.
DC! Hang on, I only half heard the question. Let me finish up this door and I'll get to it. Thank you so much for the super chat. For whatever reason, the volume on my super chats is really low in my ear right now. And that makes me sad. Because the robot voice is louder than that. But yeah, there were... Yeah, the little controversy of calling it a Mustang. I know Mustang's got a lot of heritage. And like, it's not a two-door, it's not blah, blah, blah. But it's kind of like the way the movies are right now. They either spend a lot of money on like a new release and take it, like, well, they have to keep remaking like franchises and stuff that they've made before to like know they're going to get a return on their money. I think Mustang went that way for the same reason. It's just like it's a very recognizable name. Yeah, it's not a Mustang, but they tried to make it cooler. I like the direction that they went with it. There's so many, like, I look at a lot of the other EVs, and they're kind of sad. Like, they're just going completely in the other direction as far as styling and stuff goes. Or at least a lot of them. Like, you know, the Prius came out, and it's like, why does it look so ugly? And then, like, there's the BMW, like, what was it? The i3 or something? And you have, like, the Chevy Bolt, and you're just like, why are these electric cars so goofy? Can't you just make, like, a nice car? The answer is yes, finally. But, yeah, they named it the Mustang. Okay. Oh, God. Okay, there it is. DC! Hello, Master. Do you think it's a smart idea to just have 40-inch rolls instead of different sizes? Most of the time, I cut my film in half for doors. In that case, sure. Absolutely. That'll make a lot of sense to keep one roll of film. The only time it's really going to be an issue is when you go to do doors that you can't cut in half, like on trucks and SUVs. So in that case, I would have like 40s and 24s. But then I start going the route of like 36s, 24s, and then like, you know, I come back full circle. But yeah, taking 20-inch rolls or 40-inch rolls, cutting them in half. Why did it go away? Huh. Well, that's new. That's not scary in the slightest. Oh God, it did it again. Canon. That's weird. 1 second. It's not a good thing. It's a very bad thing for that to just like randomly disconnect that way. What's the most common size for windshields? 36 will cover almost every windshield. 40-inch for sure. GoPro. Needs a firmware update. I wish it were that simple. I just hope a cable isn't starting to go. It's kind of like a weird time though for it to just stop working, because I'm not like in an awkward spot. I'm just head straight up doing doors. Okay, but back to film sizes. You got to make sure that you have 24s available for trucks and SUVs, because you get like the GMs, F-150s, and a handful of other ones where you save some film. But if most of what you're doing is for 40s, you can just split them in half and 20/20. That's totally fine. But unlike a car like this one, I could also take a 36, split it in half, 18/18. And still cover the doors. And then there's the sideways thing, but that's something else. Looking good. Nice. Get a slightly drier towel. Is this C2 or plus? This is C2. Anybody know anything about Global window films? I had to put on my 18 Fusion. Global's a good, solid film. You should be pretty happy with it. Solid manufacturer. You did good. See, and then these pull right out most of the time. And then all this. So like there's still felt seals. So that's kind of like why there'll be a little bit more here. But I'll see this on rubber seals, especially older ones too. All those teeny little bits there, that can get in your film. One of those little things will stand out like a sore thumb. So it's not unusual to have one or two little small things that you can kind of touch up. But imagine you just get a whole bunch of them. That's where you're gonna be redoing all your stuff. So I just make it not even a question. I just tape it up now and just like, zoop, here you go. Any tips on hand cutting small windows where there isn't enough room to wiggle on the inside? Rubbers are tight on the inside. Cut them exact. Some thing you can try is you can, so on those tight rubber gasket seals, you can actually take some tools and press them into the gasket and warm the rubber up a little bit and just let it sit for a little while. And it'll kind of give it a little bit more space. So when you pull these out, that rubber has then been like pushed away from where it needs to go a little bit more. Something that I'll do to help it, I saw a nifty little trick where somebody shoves like a 10 or 16 gauge wire in the gasket. I think they forever leave that wire in there, but frees up a lot of space so you can have a nice clean install. That was another really cool idea. Something I think I got some to try and I just haven't tried it yet. But yeah, they're not super fun. 3M or Global. I've had 3M before and it was good. I probably pick Global, honestly. I'd need like a solid refreshing of like 3M's lineup. So 3M's got like a massive name, and in the world of window film, they're at least more known. So when you say like, hey, we use 3M film, it's easier to justify more expensive pricing to just an average person, because it's like, oh, I've heard of them before. I remember hearing that they have window film, expensive window film or whatever. But at the time when I saw, like, so we were carrying 3M color stable and it was really, really blue. It was too blue for actually factory matching anything. And crystalline, I respect the technology that's behind it. But you have to charge like, I don't know, it's what, like over $1,000 a roll for crystalline, which is pretty crazy. And I don't think you get that much better heat rejection, and the shades don't go any darker than 40%. So I just have to see what their current lineup is. It's been a long time since I've looked. What's hard on the back windshield? It's on this one, it's more curved. So the defroster lines will give people a little bit of trouble, and then just the curve. I have quite a few back window shrinking videos with chargers specifically, though. So we'll learn a little bit. We really will. But let's see. There's a couple blue ones on the channel. All right, let's do this. So this one I think I cut a little bit wide. Hopefully that doesn't completely screw me up. But I did it because these windows, they shift back and forth a little bit. So I figured I'd just tuck it in a little bit farther if I can. Yay! We may have done it. Nice. this nice and close. Oh, I think the radio's still on. You know that music on Saturday? Next door? It was enough to give me another copyright claim. I didn't think somebody could play music loud enough next door that the muffled music would then get a strike. Or a claim, sorry. Claims are a little different than a strike, so it's not the end of the world. I just don't like to have an excessive amount of them, that's all. So the clear plastic is called carpet shield. I get asked that so many times. Even by people that I thought watched the stream. That have seen my videos for years. I still get asked about it. So, to kind of break this down, I use a clear sticky plastic called carpet shield to try and keep all the door panels from getting super wet. That sticky plastic sticks to some door panels, but not all door panels. But this house wrap tape sticks to like damn near every door panel, but they just don't really make one that aggressive in the sticky plastic that I found yet. So we put Lowe's tape here, the house wrap here, to kind of seal in the top edge, and then we just put the plastic right on top. It does a pretty good job. And then we also, who's we? I, or I guess all of us as a community, I don't know. And then I wrap the seals with it too, just to keep any dirt that's built up on them completely out of sight, out of mind. So mainly use it for the sides, but if you want to try and keep your panels nice and dry, like I always hated when they had fabric inserts and then water drips down, seeps into the fabric, and then it stays wet up till, like, you know, they pick up the car and those inserts are still wet, and it's just kind of like, oh. This helps take care of a good amount of that. But they make door panels really so like nothing's gonna stick to them because people own them. You know, if you get a little, like anything on them, you don't want it to stick, right? These things, they're gonna be used by regular people. Spills happen. So the more people proof that they make them, the better everybody, like the happier everybody is. I've seen the metal gasket holders. Why don't you use that? I don't know. I always like something that I could pick and put in my pocket. But now that I'm here, I could try and put something like that in. I don't really like, so I've tried the Expel one. I didn't like how thick it was. It felt like it was way too much for it. But I kind of used this first, and then I got really happy using this thing, and I've never felt like I needed to use anything else. So, and I can put this in my pocket, so it's never really gone beyond that. Very nice. I watch your videos all the time. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, because we're on that door, I suppose we should do the quarter windows. And we're not going to get the quarter window from the back glass. It's too tall. So we'll go ahead and cut one of these guys out. I should have short rolls of my carbon. I don't. So I actually just have 40s of the carbon. It's kind of like habit, long time habit, that I just need to order some short rolls of it. I don't have many excuses now. Just carrying over other habits. So we'll save that for the other side. So on these chargers, what's cool is you actually don't have to shift this pattern around. You just lock it in right at the bottom there. And then you're gonna go around the whole outside border past the ceramic border. So it kind of like oversizes the whole thing, but there's enough space on the bottom that it actually becomes like the perfect size. It's really, really cool. I was really surprised the first time I saw Rick do this. That's how I know how to do this one. I'd sit here and I'd try and trim all my edges perfectly. The plastic would stick to the metal gasket holders. That's an interesting idea. I kind of like that idea. I've seen similar things, like people were using like manila folders or plastic school folders for like the same thing. It's an interesting idea. Okay, so we got our pattern. We don't actually have to shrink these either. I've done so many of these. Where like, most quarters I'll end up shrinking. I've done so many of these, yeah, it's fine. I know what to expect with these. And hopefully I don't goof it up because they said that. Oh my God, they got the music again. Would they finish, please? It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen again, I know it. Okay, so we oversized this quarter window, but it's got a gasket down here, like a regular window gasket. So this drops into that gasket, or seal or whatever, as long as it doesn't stick. And then we slide it back up. Oh, it picked one spot. It's pretty muffled. I know it. I think it's when I switched to the computer microphone. But last time it still managed to get flagged somehow. And I'm like, wow, that's special. DMCA. So, yeah, then this will slide back up here. Should go right in place where everything's covered. Neat. Right like that. So what would drive me crazy about seeing other people tint these is when you cut this out as a standard quarter window, you cut it out with a little border here like you normally would. You cut this as a flat edge. Nothing weird about that. But then you take it on the inside, and the way that these are designed is just a little bit different from most. So when the driver's sitting in the car, and then they look over the shoulder to see through the back rear window, there's a gap here because the inside seal is farther this way and the outside seal is farther over this way. So when you tint these, you're kind of looking at them straight on. You don't really think much of it. And then you look at it this way and you can see a clear gap right along this edge. So that's that gap that I'm talking about. Make sure it's lined up. Always keep an eye on that edge. Is ceramic BS? My local tint guy said it's BS. Sounds like he will save you a little bit of money. It's definitely not BS. There is some BS marketing attached to it all, though. So some people will say, oh, it's clearer, it's this, it's that. A lot of disingenuous things to try and make it sound more appealing. There's really one strong reason to get it, and if you don't value it, then just get regular tint or get carbon. So ceramic blocks IR heat, and that's what you feel. So I can actually show a demo, especially when we do this whole windshield. I got it up front. But afterwards, we can actually show on the car a comparison between the two. So light is measured in like a big wide spectrum, and this gets all like nerdy and scientific and annoying, honestly. But you have UV, you have radio waves, you have that's all light, and you have the IR spectrum, the UV spectrum, and the visible light spectrum. Those are like the main things that have to do with like seeing. Seeing and feeling. So the IR spectrum is kind of what you feel. The visible light spectrum is like only a small part of that, and you have a lot that goes into the IR. And then UV, automotive glass and all window tints block out 99% of UV. But what you actually feel, let me see. Yeah, let's just go up front real quick. Advertising from seeing on the inside or dark on the outside, clear on the inside. Yeah, I know. That's a lot of BS. That's kind of just window tint. So we have a Btu meter. This is something I like to show everybody. So this is 20% dyed tint. The closer I get this meter, the higher it goes, the farther away, the lower it goes. So I'll center it around 300 because we're basically creating like a baseline. So I can feel heat coming off of this bulb, meters at 300. If I go to carbon tint, then that drops to 150. So it basically blocks out half of that heat. And then when I go to the ceramic, which is in the same shade, it goes to 70, which is half again. So blocks out 75 to like 80% from this one right here. Going all the way around. 300, 150, 75. Can't hardly feel it anymore. That's the main difference. So I try to make it a point to at least show everybody that comes in here that it's an option, but if you're just looking for a good tint job and you don't really care about that, no worries. I almost want to say yes, it does, but we're locked out. Oh shit, we did that thing. So this, we're doing 20% on all the sides in the rear and 50 in ceramic on the windshield. That tape is holding my stick down. Can we get it? There we go. That would have been a bad. Oh no, we're locked out. But yeah, I like this whole meter dealy thing. It's been fun to play around with. Because saying that it's different, like, oh yeah, it feels different. Like, you don't get that unless you see it in person. That's why, like, you can see some demos over a video, but when you go into a tint shop, a lot of them, they should have that. And actually be able to show you the difference. Is it worth it to remove the weather strip? That's completely up to you. For me, most of the time, no. Some people look at the chargers and go, oh yeah, I definitely remove those. So it makes it easier to tint as long as you can remove it. It's definitely not my specialty though. Usually takes a couple screws, popping some push pins, and then they'll pop out. Cool. I used some of your methods when I tinted my 03 Tahoe. That's good. I hope it turned out well. Let's do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Went well after I messed up a few feet of film. Oh, not surprising. But that's good. Knowing what to do when you make a mistake. Like, after you make a mistake, it's knowing how to adjust to, like, fix those mistakes. That's a huge part. That's really where a class is going to be super helpful. Because there were... I'll point it out next time. On the next window that we go to install. But there's like little things that I do in every video that to me is just like, this is just how you tint a car. And then I watch somebody else pick up a squeegee and then they're using it different than me, or they're doing it in a different order, or they don't really understand like the act of squeegeeing a window can be done 100 different ways. So just mirror what I do. But that being said, that doesn't always happen. Is NR Pro color staple dyed? No. No, Avery NR Pro is almost color stable dyed, but there is some carbon in there. Not. It's kind of annoying because, in my opinion, it's got enough in it to have some haze, but not enough carbon to really make a difference. So with carbon films, like, carbon will block heat, but when a film is made 100% from carbon, it only blocks so much heat. That's where ceramic comes in. But the film is also colored a lot of the time. Like, it's really colored from the carbon as well. So there's that balance between 20% will block out some heat, 5% will block out more heat. So I give people like the 20% average. Like the 20% carbon will block out 50% of the IR. 5% carbon will block out more, but it's darker. So in the case of NR Pro, it's a dyed carbon hybrid because their carbon is a little bit hazy, unfortunately. So I just went straight to the NR as soon as it came out. I think the NR is a great value. It's a solid film. The NR Pro, it doesn't bring enough performance to justify it not being clear. And then the ceramic just, Sun Distributing doesn't even carry it. Because it's just not great. So they have some growing to do still. I used Avery for a while, but I was pretty much installing their NR. We used their NR Pro, and then I picked up NR immediately when it came out, and I never installed anything else. Why not use the torch on the top edge? I don't know. I just picked up a heat gun instead. This is slower, though. I've done it quite a few times recently. I just ended up grabbing a heat gun. But yeah, you can see this is slower. Looking good. Nice close top edge there. Car went to sleep. Wake up. There we go. Can you go over your prep process? Yeah, for sure. We'll do the whole thing. It's pretty straightforward. Sometimes I do the steps a little bit out of order too. So, and sometimes I'll forget to use something entirely, but we'll try and be mostly consistent on this one because we're doing it as a demo. But prep is important, not as important as your installation will be. You can do a half-ass prep job and still put out a damn good window. Most of it comes down to insulation. That's what I hear that a lot. I cleaned a window 500 times and it still has a dirty install. What happened? It's not the prep. Most of the time, it's not the prep. So let us get this off. Looking good. I didn't know if they were laminated. So being laminated or being tempered really doesn't matter a whole lot. It's more about the top edge though. So I took a clay bar and I was a little bit more thorough about that top edge, because especially on a driver's window, it gets used the most. Rolled up and down, that top edge is constantly slamming against the inside of this, collecting lots and lots of dirt. So that's kind of a sneak peek of what I was digging out of the top edge. So a little bit of water could just shuffle some extra bits off of the sides especially. So I just want to try and clean it out as thoroughly as I possibly can. But it's usually only responsible for like a little bit if there's something there. I used to never clean top edges. And then every once in a while I'd get a really speckly window and I'd be super confused. And I didn't think those top edges were all that dirty. Oh, they're way dirty. Does the one ply shrink similarly? Yes. And you can learn a lot with a one ply film. It'll just feel like tissue paper in comparison though. So it'll shrink faster. Solar Guard's films are actually pretty much all 1mm film. Most everybody else has 1.5. So if you're sticking with Solar Guard, you'd actually be totally fine with learning on a 1-ply film. It's just, it's like the difference between like a piece of paper and some tissue paper. That's kind of the feel there. Maybe a little thinner than just a piece of paper, but so you can learn all the same things. I actually learned the first film that I was using was Lumar AT. That was before they discontinued it. Lumar AT was their 1mm dyed film, and then they had ATC, which I think is still around. That's their 1.5mm dyed film. So we moved to that as soon as they discontinued the 1mm, and it took a little bit of getting used to, but it wasn't too bad. There's things I liked about both. I like the thicker film for back windows and the thinner film for door windows early on installing. Because a thinner film is just easier to kind of maneuver around, less risk of creasing it. But I always suggest go with a 1.5mm film because that's kind of where everybody's at now. But you can definitely save some money that way. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Let's backtrack a little bit. All right, so we're going to prep a door for installation. What are we going to do? So the first thing is I'll roll my windows completely down. I'll put tape on the sides. This helps keep all the edges clean. And I put it here to help the sticky plastic that I use stick to this. That's a whole nother story. But basically I use that to stick to the paneling, keep all the water off of it. That's not the interesting bit. The interesting bit is keeping it clean, keeping the glass clean for installation. So in my hand right now, I've got a 1-inch razor blade. You can use carbon, you can use stainless steel. When you're scraping, you can use whatever razor blades you want. You're just not cutting physically on the glass. So they're totally safe. I'm spraying just the same soapy water that I used for installation. It was a mix of baby shampoo and Dawn. So when I'm scraping a window, I'll usually scrape the top first, and then scrape the bottom. You can do them in any order. It's really just whichever way the window is kind of oriented already. It was exposed, so I scraped the top and then rolled it up, scraped the bottom. You're always on the lookout for like little stickers and stuff. You don't need to use razor blades. You can use this guy here. This is called the Gator Blade. This is a sharp plastic card, so you don't really have to replace these as much, but it's not gonna do a great job of scraping off stickers. So you're still gonna have to use a razor blade for that. But this has these nice edges for getting here and the side seals and whatnot. So it's all kind of scraped, and you notice I didn't squeegee it yet, because the bottom then gets rolled down into a bunch of garbage here. Even if you squeegee it, as far as I'm concerned, it's all garbage down here. We'll take care of that later. Spray your window, and I'll use either like a clay bar or a scrub pad for the top edge. You can use either one. They're both great options. Clay bar kind of shows you how dirty that top edge is, and it's really good for kind of like conforming into like laminated edges. This one's just rounded at the top, and we don't really see much coming off of it. If you want to be excessive, you can then take a scrub pad, but honestly, you just took a razor blade over it. This isn't going to do much. It's more for just kind of illustration. And then I'll take a towel, and I'll go ahead and wipe all this off. So mostly the top edge, because we loosened up a bunch of crud. Want to make sure we wipe it off, and then we'll just spray it back down. From this point, we'll grab our squeegee handle. So I'll use a handled squeegee. This is the hybrid with the Fusion Shorty handle. It's my personal favorite handled squeegee, and then I use a tri-edge to then sweep out the sides. So I'll usually do this part twice, but what I want you to pay attention to is spray off the window, start at the top, go from one side completely to the other side, and then make overlapping strokes all the way down. So there's no water trails or drips left anywhere in here. It all went from one side to the other, and then I take my card, sweep it down, and then you can spray it and go. Another little trick you can do is use this same card and kind of flush out your side edges a little bit. That's that extra spray you'll see me do on the sides. Spray the window, and then you're all ready to go. That's the whole prep process. So any dirt that falls into your window after that, it's basically on the installation at that point. You can have a couple miscellaneous specs here or there that you can just chalk up to. Every window is, you know, there's always something. No window is completely perfect. But that being said, we can get damn close to perfection. And doing these steps really will get you 99% of the way there. Basically every time. You'll have those windows that are just obscure, or that situation where like, I don't know where this dust came from. But a lot of this is really down to your technique for the installation portion. Because the more you start fighting with corners and edges, there's still going to be some trash that finds its way back up into the window. So I didn't really fight with it when I was trying to get it in the seal. I cut these a little bit on the wider side, because these shift a little bit back and forth, but that's something else entirely. Get it tacked up to the top. Make sure it's stuck in place. This side's still a little wiggly here. So it's probably okay. But if you want to be like a little extra safe, that's where you'll take either a heat gun, torch, heat up the top edge, and all you're doing here is just accelerating the drying. Heat will dry out all the water, or warm it up, and once it warms up, it'll stick. So if you find your windows are a little bit slidey, and you squeegeed them a bunch of times and they're still slidey, you can use a little less soap next time. And you can also warm up the top edge of the windows and just let that settle in, and now you go back to wiggle it. This feels warm, so does this. It's got to feel warm on the inside. Then it's stuck. Then you can roll it up. Now you know your top edge didn't shift. So for the bottom part, we just scraped it. We didn't squeegee it. You could if you really want to, but I'll let the water do the work, because when we roll up the window, we're just rolling it up out of a seal. And as far as I'm concerned, there's lots of little bits that came up with that. So I'll use this sprayer and use basically like a little wave and wash all that back down. Peel my tint. Now it's all exposed. Wet the dry part, and sometimes the window a little bit more. And then everything should install nice and clean. Tuck in our corners. Roll this up. And then chug a chew. Get this air to go down nice and smooth. There we go. But yeah, there's no little secrets here. That's the whole thing, start to finish. That's what I do on like every car. You guys see it all the time. I don't think I've slowed down to give it that much of an explanation recently, but that's what you gotta do. Peel your tape. Oh no, it tore. It's probably from that razor blade. Wah! Should I get a plotter just for the quarter windows? You can. If you got the budget for it, yeah, go for it. I think it makes life easier. And then the occasional like back window here or there. That's definitely a way to do it. I used to never tape the seals. There, now we can get the tape out. Okay. I love your videos, but damn, you waste so much time taping felt. It's unnecessary, but whatever, you do you. I remove all the door panels in 5 minutes, wipe the felt with a microfiber, and tint it clean. I actually just, for the longest time, I didn't tape anything. So, it's a little extra thing. If we want to be particular. I tint it without even removing the paneling or taping, but I think removing the panel can be a waste of time, but that's me. What you see me do on here is now a lot more involved than what I used to do from shop to shop. Now it's more of like we take a lot of time with every car that comes in here. I used to not do that. Are those stools on wheels hard to roll across the race deck floor? No. No, they're actually pretty good. It definitely slows them down. But these have little wider casters on them. So they're not like the real thin ones. These are the wheels on the bottom. These actually do pretty well. So you can hear like... But yeah, they've actually been really, really good. Been happy with them. I wanted to get like the rollerblade casters, but I bought 5 of them for the class. So I didn't want to spend like $700 on better stools. Sorry, I cheaped out, guys. I don't even know if they would have done better. All right, where's that quarter window? We've been taping doors. We've been taping doors for quite a while now that I might have to show how I did door windows even like like a year ago. People ask me about tape and I would say, no, you don't need to, it's fine. And it's true, you don't need to. It's typically fine. Customers at my place pay a high price and I tint it perfectly by removing the panels and no tape. They aren't paying for anything but wasted time. Okay, that's cool. Everybody's got their own way of doing it. I think the sad part is always, if I literally did what somebody else did, then there's another person in here saying I'm wasting time and doing things wrong, and then I gotta adjust again and do things another way. It's like a never-ending cycle. Yeah, I don't like the idea of removing door panels on stream, really. There's lots of easy cars, and then there's that one car where something goes poorly, and yikes. But it's okay, because, quote, never had any problems ever, and blah, blah, blah. It's funny, I've actually been accused of door rattle after I've tinted them without removing anything. Like, yeah, it rattles now. Do you take it apart? No. Oh, I swear it didn't make that sound before. Bro, I just tinted it. I don't know. People be crazy. How dare you tint different than me? I know, right? See? Perfect edges. No gaps. Just cut them exact to the outside border, and you'll never have to fiddle with it. 300s are a different story, though. Sometimes you have to trim those. I work at a dealership. What was that? I work at a dealership. I'd waste a lot of time taping all the seals. Yeah, for sure. Trust me, I've done plenty of mobile work. I've been, I have a couple live streams from the glass shop that I tinted. I didn't have time to tape door seals. My shop is different. My shop is very different. I mean, how many shops even look like this? Like, the whole thing is just way different from a regular garage shop. This car has a bit of a border on those quarter windows? Yes. Yes. A little more than the 300 in some spots. I have my car tinted. I have some bubbling along the defroster lines. Will this go away? No. Not usually. So it's not uncommon to see a little air gap in between the defrosters. It really depends on the defroster lines a lot of the time, how well it adheres to that whole thing. So, but you shouldn't have like big air pockets or anything. It should be like really, really minimal, like a nitpicky thing to kind of point out, but how does the shop remove tint from a rear glass without damaging the defrosters? Most use this steamer. If you're in a hotter state, you can get away with doing a couple little other things, but steamers are a pretty surefire way to do the best job possible. There's some cheap thin films that it gets so baked on that glass that, you got to scrape it off. There's not much you can do about it. Most situations that I've been in, film doesn't get that bad here. But it definitely can. My thin carbon blades will be here tomorrow. I can only find them in 10 packs. Dang it! Did y'all order them again? You guys swiping up all the thin carbon blades? Now what am I gonna do? I'm gonna run out. Oh, why are you still beeping? You don't need to be on. We can turn that off. That's totally fine. All right, charger, back window. 50-50 split. We got a fair amount of film to shrink. I kind of want to get one of these just to have at the class. I guess I should do a couple of glass stands and put a charger on one of them. Yes, we're doing the windshield. We're doing the back windshield and front windshield. So back windshield, that'll come first. Oh, can I move that? I can. Yep, it's all prepped. We're gonna do 50% ceramic on the back. We're doing 50% ceramic on the windshield, 20% carbon on the rear. What's the hardest rear window that you've done so far? Probably the Beetle. That's not a super fun one to do. In second place, I mean, there was this Beretta that I tried to do years ago. That wasn't super fun. Beretta's a stupid back window. But nowadays, still the VW Bug, and then the Vet, the older Vet, C6 Vet. Is it possible, to avoid, Oh, is it possible to avoid air next to the defrosters? So that dot border, not really. You're always going to have a border. Wherever there's no factory privacy window, you're always going to have a border. That's just unfortunately how it is. After your film dries out completely, then you can kind of warm up those edges and press them down a little bit better. But the glue from the tint doesn't really fill in those gaps, so it's just kind of fortunately how it is. All like the dot solutions are either, like I've seen a company selling like a different film, and then I've seen like either sanding or some type of glue that you can put over the dots, or you can try and just like heat them up with a torch, blast them dry, let them sit outside for a while or something, and then go back and try and press it cleaner. But that being said, that's what I've seen just for like the more exposed dot areas. Has nothing to do with the dots at the bottom, because there's the deck lid and everything in the way. So this is downright curved. So I'm looking around for a shop car. I have to buy something with cash though. And I was trying to find something that's good for the class. I think I'm leaning either a Fusion or a Malibu. Yeah, well, yes and no. So, rental car will still be a thing. Corolla's not a bad idea. Wanted something a little bit bigger, though. So, I guess a Camry would be bigger, but man, they hold their value just a little bit more than everything else does. But yeah, we're still doing rental car for the class. But the thing is, rental car is like $300 a month. I might as well just buy something in cash and then also have another regular lease for the class, and then we'll have whatever cars people bring in, and then I'm probably gonna buy a couple of extra difficult back windows and stuff for practice and put them up on some stands. Just have a nice variety. lease a car. Well, yeah, that'll be half the class, and then the other half will be bought, so I don't have to continuously rent something. So half of that's really easy to figure out. So just take volunteers from the class. Yeah, going off of the last class, there was a little bit of that, but not enough. Not something that I can 100% rely on. And to be honest, like, so one of the cars that we pulled in was a Rogue. And that's great for, like, all the sides and, like, learning a hatchback back window. Like, that's all well and good. But you need a car. So I was just throwing it out there. I'm looking to buy a car, but not really spend over like $4,000 for it. Ideally, 2 to 3. It's just something that is going to basically sit here for the most part. But still want it to be functional, so it's not like has to be pushed if I have to move it. So it's got to be able to work like a car. So I think that range is probably a Fusion, Malibu, or possibly an Impala. Camry's on the table, though, if I can find one. Older Nissan Altima seems like a good option. That's not a bad idea either. Oh, and for the most part, the older ones use keys, too. Because I, like, skipped over that for a minute. Because I rented one for the class, and it was a great car to have here, but it kept shutting off like every 5 minutes. That was really annoying. Maybe like 10 minutes or so. There's no way to get it to stay on for any longer than that, where some of the other cars you can. Like a Charger. Charger will stay on for like 20 minutes. But yeah, Altima seems like a nice bet, as long as it has a key. I'm doing an older Altima right now, and the back glass isn't fun to shrink. I'd have to see it then. I know they vary a little bit, but Altima I think was always like this nice in-between. When are you restocking GeoShield? What's out of stock? I can ask them what's going on. I know they have, or at least they did. They should have all the shades. They're just like, I know with the Pro Nano, I had to pick up a 40 instead of a 36. Pro Nano's completely out. What, even in 40s? That's scary. The sides curve really hard. I just don't think it's a good beginner car. Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, that's the other thing. Because finding something with like nice in-between seals, but I didn't want to make it like the easiest. So Malibu is kind of like what I would say is going to be like the easiest. Fusion's like a good middle ground. But I was looking to get like the newer model Fusion, not the older one. Seems like the newer models. A little more expensive. Dun, 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 dun. Canon. Hello, Tint Studio. How can I help you? Oh, okay. I'm live right now. Is there any way you could ask it live? Okay.
You had them yellow towels. They seem to work good.
Okay.
Where you get yours from? What kind of towel way?
The towel? Are you seriously calling to ask?
No, I say he probably gonna hate me.
It's they're Costco towels.
Okay. Costco?
Yes.
Okay. Keep up the good work too while you're on live. I appreciate it. You helped me. You came a long way. You helped me come a long way.
Aw, well I appreciate it. That made up for it.
Yes, sir.
All right, you have a good one.
You too.
Bye. GoPro. Gonna call me to find out where I get my towels from. It's always funny to me when somebody calls and then they're like, "Hey, I love the channel." I'm like, "Oh, cool. Thanks. I appreciate it. You know we're live, right?" "Oh, I had no idea." I guess you don't like it that much then, huh? It surprised me, though. It wasn't... Oh, dang. I pulled it straight out of the wall. It wasn't the carpet shield question. All right. So we have the back glass all shrunk, ready to go. There's my other towel. So let's throw a towel over this rear. We'll move these seats forward too a little bit. Just cover up mostly this part. This is where a lot of stuff drips. Gotta free up a little space towards the bottom. The deck lid kind of gets a little bit tight there, so I don't like to have too much in the way. That's a day keeps the V6 away. That's true. And then we need, what else do we need? We need a couple of back window tools here. I should probably take a few minutes to find my bulldozers. I don't know where they went, but I found my scrubber. So this old nasty thing, this has Velcro here, it looks like a bulldozer. This you can put all your Velcro pads to. Obviously not like that, just a clean Velcro pad. You can use to scrub it, you can use square ones, whatever you want to use. It'll stick to it, it's for getting farther down in a back window. I haven't shown that one for quite a while because I couldn't find it, and then I found it. But with gas prices, why drive a V8? Because it's more fun. It's when you're doing lots of ceramic jobs. Is there a maximum shrinkage on film? Kind of. It'll shrink as far as you can make it shrink. And figuring out how far you can go with it, that's the tricky mess. So anytime you ever think that there's like, no, this is as much as this film can go, you'll see somebody inevitably do something better. So there's this, I just saw another video of somebody doing a Model 3 the normal way. And it's like, damn. Just when you think you've seen it all, somebody else does that. That's the second time I've seen that one, but it's impressive. Okay, let's pick these up. Let's put them up here. So we're gonna be pulling some films in there. So we actually have to start it up. Just want to make sure that I have basically everything there. So we're gonna turn this on. And this is legitimately for tinting. So on Chargers, Challengers, Mustangs, 300s, I always start them up. And then I turn on the rear defroster. This is when I go to clean it. So, fun little tip here. If you just go and tint these without doing any prep work to the rear defrosters, and leaving the car off, a lot of times you're going to create little air pockets. So I'll turn on the car, turn on the rear defrosters, and as they're heating up, I'll be extra thorough about cleaning them. But leaving the defrosters on kind of fixes any issues you might have. Especially that. Did he not want 5 on the rear window? Well, yeah, that's why we're doing 20. Not everybody with a Charger gets 5. So I can definitely feel the defrosters at this point getting decently warm. Some are just worse than others. And you never know how bad they're actually going to be until you go to tint them, but I can tell you, used to have a lot of air pockets. And then one day, actually this was another Rick tip, he said just turn them on before you go to clean them. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And then, son of a bitch, that worked. There's... I disagree. 5 on the back would look more uniform with 20 on the sides. I don't agree with that. If I'm gonna do the back in a shade, I like to do the sides at the same shade. Especially when you're driving with it. Like, for the most part, you're the one that's driving your car. Oh. Let me do that one more time. So when you do 5 on the rear, 20 on the sides, like, to me it's annoying to like see that shade inconsistency on the inside. Beautiful. And this one is not, does not have that weird hump on the back, so that's extra nice for me right now. The Hellcats, they have like a weird hump on that defroster, or not on the defroster, on the deck lid. Which tools do I use? Go to Sun Distributing, and then there's a Tint Studio recommended page there that has everything that's listed. I could talk a lot about all the tools. That hump is for a subwoofer. No, it's for the Hellcat. It's where they put the cat. They just like mash over it. No, it's probably subwoofer. Okay. The new Jetta rear window is annoying to tint. I don't think I've ever tinted a fun rear window on a Jetta. Hopefully they didn't make it any less fun. I always hate when I can't remove headrests when they're like sewn into the seats, because it just takes up my arm space. Glass definitely feels warm. How hard are Crown Vics to tint? My job has 2 scheduled this week. Do they put them on the same day? If you remind me in a minute, if I think of it, I'll show you a tool that can make your life way easier on Crown Vics specifically. Doesn't mean there'll be a cakewalk, but Crown Vics are just big, bubbly, felty, different days. Oh, thank God for that. Same customer. So, they're annoying. They're not that bad, but they are like, in my opinion, they're up there with like how people feel about a Charger, but I feel more strongly about the Crown Vic, because generally people don't take care of those. They're just like freaking beat up. Like, oh yeah, it was an old police car, and they still treat it like an old police car. So, car's still running. My main goal is squeegee out the defroster lines first, because that's what's hot. The rest of the glass is, like, there's no defrosters up there. It's antenna lines. It's different. They're not going to heat up. So I'll always try and make sure that this is squeegeed out as much as possible, laid down, so it minimizes any chance of an air pocket catching somewhere not fun, right? And we can get that top. Pretty simple anyways, but our Chrysler's the same for the defrosters, yeah, but really just the 300s. The 200s are totally fine. 300s are stupid. They're nice because they're shorter back windows. So whenever, like, I'd get Chargers as much as I'd get 300s. I'd always be a little bit happier when I'd get a 300. Then you can use a 24-inch roll on the back window. Less shrinking, just faster. But same thing, turn on the defrosters. Ever did a crossfire? I think so, but I definitely don't remember it. The Chrysler Crossfire that I remember, I was a valet, and it was like the first manual that came in, and I didn't know how to drive a manual at the time. So it was at a restaurant. Waited for them to walk into the restaurant. I stalled that thing like 5 or 6 times, trying to get it in a parking spot. That's my crossfire story. Looking good. Just want to get this bottom edge stuck a little bit more. It's just a little bit of water there, but it's looking really, really good. So, this car's still running. I could shut it off at this point, but I always like to hammer this point home. People pop in and out of here all day long. All you need, turn on the defrosters right before you go to clean the inside of the glass. That way it'll be hot when you go to install it. And then just leave it running through the installation. Once you're all wrapped up with it, shut off the car. And then, as this back window dries out, all these, like, there shouldn't be anything that pops up along the defroster lines. There might be 1 or 2 small things that I have to press out, but this looks like it's sticking awesome. That's exactly what we want. This turned out really, 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 really nice. I'm very happy with this one. This is a big car. A lot of in and out. So we'll get this wiped down. And then we got a windshield, which is nice because that still gives me more time on this back window to kind of just let it sit, see how it's going to dry out. And if I need to do any little touch-ups, no problem. Nice. And then we can move to the windshield. Super cool. Woo! Looking good. Chrysler 300 windshield. What's touchy on it? If anything, the BCM. So same thing with Chargers, Durangos, most Chryslers. Just cover them up. Tell me if I'm wrong. People that vape are worse than smokers. It covers the glass in like sugar water. Honestly, I haven't really noticed. A scuzzy window is a scuzzy window. So I really don't get that much scuzzy windows anymore. Not like I used to. Do you need a tint rope or the BCM? So last I heard, BCM should still be in the same place. Probably in the passenger kick panel. Now on the Chargers, it's all open, so it's easy to get to. On this one, you'd have to take the trim out, and then it kind of is tucked up right in here. So use a rope, use a towel, tuck it into all the edges, and just don't give the water any chance of going down there. I think some people, they do one or the other. Just do as much as you can to keep everything safe. So don't just like throw a rope and then throw some microfibers loosely over the dash. Like cover it, like you mean it. And then you should be okay. On this one too, we're gonna take the mirror off. I mentioned it near the beginning. Is a tint rope mandatory? And put it to you this way. It's not mandatory, but spending whatever a rope costs versus thousands of dollars on a BCM or getting a car fixed. I mean, it's worth it. So, what is it? They're a little bit more expensive than I think they are every time I go look at the price. But I think they sell like one rope for like $30. Don't be a cheap ass on that one. Just get a soak shield and get a good towel. And just be careful. There's lots of cars that you'll probably be completely fine on, and then there's that one car, and then that'll not be good. It's like, do I need a heat gun, or do I need this, do I need that? I mean, you can get away with not using some of these things, but what are they helping to protect against? All right, windshield time. So the towel, the big white one, is sun distributing. The big gray ones, like sun distributing has the best big dash towels. And I found these like seat cover things off of Amazon. I was kind of looking around for some options. And I wanted something that would kind of stick in place a little bit more and have a little bit like it could absorb some water. So I haven't really found the same type of thing for the back seat yet, but they've got these like towel thingies, and they just swing over the rear or the headrests. Super easy to put in. So this was really nice, and it covers the majority of everything. It kind of just like falls exactly where you need it. No, my ceramic took a dive. That's what I get for being helpful. Oh, dang, we are way over on the other side. Cool. Making sure I didn't cut this short. Did Iron Duck Design make your logo? Yes. Yeah, she's done logos for a lot of tint companies. She's the best. And she'll make it really unique. So it's a little bit, it's not like, hey, yo dog, I need a tint logo. She'll spend a little time trying to figure out what you're looking for, and then you'll hone in on those options. So the Detroit Tint Studio thing was a cool process. I was like, this is what it's going to be called. I don't really know how it's supposed to look, but these are kind of like the color scheme that I want to go for, and that was that like that RGB vibe. Kind of like a hybrid between RGB and like some neon. And then I really like the city skyline in there too. And then just figuring out how everything should kind of piece together. She like came up with like a few different concepts, and then, you know, let's go in that direction and let's work the colors a little bit, change them up, and well, bam. Because when you get the right logo, it's just like, you know. Windshield time. One of these days we'll clean up this table. '22 Honda HR-V windshield is so annoying. Pull shrinking as a must. Same with the 19 Sentra. Oh, I haven't gotten either. I got a CR-V. Sometimes my H pattern doesn't stick on the sides. Use a little bit of water. Wet your hand, wet line here underneath the film, and then a light wet line on the sides. It'll make it stick where you need it to. I think most of that has kind of been more little crappy bits on the windshield. Sometimes there'll be like a light overspray or pollen, or, you know, even you wipe it off, it seems kind of clean, but then you can feel like a grit on it. That'll make your film definitely not stick no matter what you put on it. And sometimes you have to, or like without wetting it down. Sometimes it'll be so bad that it's just worth scraping off the outside. But usually a good scrub, squeegee, and then if you need to, a wet line. That'll help you out. Does the glass aid affect your shrinking? Yeah, it can. A little bit on the edges. It can take heat though. So it's just kind of like a sticker on the ends. It keeps it a little raised. You can put a lot of heat, and it can take it. So when I was doing some demos here, there's a few times for the class that we took off the glass aid just to show a difference in the edge. Because you're trying to get everything to lay flat, but on the edges it doesn't have to be 100% perfectly flat. So you see how close I'm getting here? I just like cook it flat on all the edges, but if there's like a slight little spot, air pocket or something, it's not a big deal. But yeah, if you don't want to use it, if it's messing up your shrink, get a glass board, try the Sharpie way. Or another thing is you can take like a hard plastic piece and just put it in between the film and the glass. Or I mean, I guess you could pick it up and use some scissors. Might be a little hard to cut some corners and stuff, but scissors could work too. But it's when you get into some of these like funky contour cuts right in the center where a knife is just way more helpful and direct. Where scissors, you have to pick it up. I don't know. There's just trade-offs to all of these. So whatever trade-offs work best for you, dude. Uh-oh. Cannon. Caught it. I saw it. I saw it happen. We killed the battery. It's at a good point, too, because we haven't gotten to the windshield yet. I actually shrink it first, roll it, add the glass aid, and then cut it and reshrink some edges. Ooh, interesting. That's a bit of a process, too. What's the clear plastic you used on the door panels? Carpet shield. I think it wasn't plugged in all the way. I think that was the problem the first time. I have to like unplug it and plug it back in because when you start up the GoPro with an HDMI plugged in, it doesn't always like it. There we go. That'll do it. Yes. Okay. Look. I wasn't even done. I was almost done. I could have finished this windshield. But I saw it. And now we'll finish it. Battery's more important. I know you get the question a lot, sorry. If you know I get it a lot, then why don't you know? It's okay. But I'm Matt. I'm just kidding, I'm not. It happens so often with it, I swear. It's really funny. Like, lifelong diehard follower of the channel, love everything you do. Oh, what plastic do you use? You didn't see it. Yeah, we're this far. We'll be fine. So I could definitely leave the mirror in, but it always helps to take the mirror out if you can. So don't feel like you have to. Do you want money? Well, generally, yes. That's how I pay for everything. But if you're asking like a super chat, no, it's fine. That little guy. Nice. Super.
Dan super chatted $4.99. God bless.
Dan. Dan with a 5. Thank you. God bless. I appreciate it. Here we go. We had Daniel Reyna and Dan. There's a lot of Dans. They might even be listening. I have a brother named Daniel. He thinks I don't answer his questions, though. Or respond to him. Actually, he doesn't have questions. He knows how to do this. He just thinks I ignore him. When is the... I don't know when the new Tiger King movie is coming out. That's a Google question for you. They just had one not long ago. But that was Dan. Dan, that, do you want money? And then he super chatted 5. Oh, I thought you were the carpet shield question, too. No, that was the wet H pattern. Or the H. Film not sticking to the sides. Also, on top of that, I'm assuming a lot of you guys are using the same types of things that I am. If you're gonna use dryer sheets, use something like, use Snuggles. Honestly, just get Snuggles. I used to use Bounce, I use Snuggles. I don't know, I just use Snuggles now. So get that, because that's what I can talk about. Dry shrink prep, also great. You can pick that stuff up. Soap bars, I don't know which one. But dryer sheets, Snuggles. So if you use like the real cheap dryer sheets, sometimes they just don't work very well. They really don't. Gotta get nice dryer sheets too. Okay, what are we doing? Oh, the Crown Vic tool. I'm totally going to forget. I want to show it right now before I have to go through this whole windshield. So this is, I wish I knew the name, because I got this off of a Snap-on truck. This is a panel pulling tool. Here's the patent number. There's nothing on this. It's just an orange pull tool. So for the Crown Vic seals, and then I've used this on some other ones, you pull the panel back a little bit. I think you have to do that on the Crown Vics. I don't remember offhand. But then you put it all the way down, and it grabs one of the deeper seals, and then you just pull it up. So this thing's awesome. Sorry, I wish I had more info. Ask around in the groups. You can just like screenshot it and go like, hey, where can I get this? Or maybe search seal pulling tool or something. I don't know. But I found it off a Snap-on truck. I mean, you could do them by hand, too. Harbor Freight sells one similar. Ooh, then get that. There you go. Then maybe I overspent. Yep, you're just going to have those seals that are helpful to pull out. Ooh, this one's a little snug. Do you hand wash your microfiber towels or bring them to the laundromat? Oh, I do not have time to bring them to the laundromat. I just throw them in the wash at home. Don't put dryer sheets when you dry them. That's the main thing. You can, if you want to get like a special soap, I haven't tried any, but I'm assuming they might feel even better for longer. Come on, just that. There we go. That's what I want to see. Let's get that edge tucked down there. So I just threw Tide in with my towel. But when you throw them in the dryer, don't use a dryer sheet. The dryer sheet makes them really waxy feeling and destroys all the little ends. I use light heat, lighter heat, whatever the medium setting is. I'm not that crazy about my towels and like water and stuff. Like, I've got a good carbon drinking water filter on like my water line, but I don't go get like distilled water. I don't think you have to be that crazy about all these things, but you know, if you get some expensive towels and stuff, keeping them nice, like the Dry Me a River waffle weave ones from the Rag Company, those are super nice. And they're like $20 for a 3-pack, so totally get keeping those nice longer. Costco, just buy a new pack, whatever. Whatever. I like this towel. Have I said how much I like this towel? Just trying to keep it out of my way as much as I can. Really, all these little pinchy ends. Anywhere the film can kind of just like bunch up, I want to be extra careful for those, because it's the hardest spots to reach. I honestly thought I had a little bit more space. Shouldn't you get contamination with that towel? What? Then what's the alternative? No, I don't. I'm not tinting the towel. I'm tinting the glass. I'm just using the towel to cover up a surface. Okay, so to remove these mirrors, they're twist off, just like the Rams. Make sure the mirror's out of the way of the top. See? A little twist off there. And then this guy pulls out. Yay! I saved that for you guys. So there's like a little rain sensor or whatever here. I don't exactly know what it is, but that's what I would guess. Always be careful. We'll just throw some tape over it. I love twisty mirrors. They always freak me out a little bit. Anything but the little screw-off mirrors kind of freak me out. I don't like glass and pressure fit anything. It just sounds like a bad design to me. Like, it's secure. It is secure, but then when it sits there for long periods of time, you just hope that, like, hey, maintenance. But then, you know, engineers do one thing and mechanics do another thing. Yeah, especially Ford mirrors. Ford mirrors for sure. Those can go die in a fire. Here, get that little guy covered. Get a Tyrant. You know, I forgot to tell him. Where was that thing? I used mine on my Explorer and it immediately broke. Oh yeah, it's right here. Yeah, it just snapped right off. He said he'd send me another one, and then I totally forgot to just tell him. This was a long time ago. This is when he first, like, released them, so hopefully they're just better. I was so pissed, though. They're like that. Amazon also sells a seal puller. Oh, cool. There you go. Did you hear about Elon's share purchase in Twitter? No, I didn't. What's happened? Is Tesla going bazooka again? Here, I'm gonna move this back here. We're gonna set this back here. We'll work there. Let's get a razor blade, let's get a scrub pad, and stop walking around so much. Did you hear about GME's stock split dividend? Canon. Tesla did split. Tesla split a bunch of times. I guess I didn't realize this. They did a stock split dividend also because they had a big short selling problem. Same thing with GME. And then GME finally announced that they're going to do it. But Tesla was nuts because it split. It ran to 1,000 and then did the split and then ran to 1,000 again. And now they're going to do another one. Hang on, I'll check it really quick and then we'll do this. Oh yeah, it's going back up again. It's funny. How much money is to remove the... Would you guys be nice? What else are we gonna do? Here, let me do a rope. So I'm gonna leave the rope in here up until the installation part because it's too tight. So this is gonna help soak up some extra water. Yeah, it's just tight. There we go. It's getting out of my dad's shop, the wood shop. Oh yeah. That you really need a separate space. There's so much sawdust that get Make sure this is all scrubbed. Sorry, their chat's going in like 6 different directions. 2.9 billion is what valued at for Elon. Does that bother the film sticking to the bottom? No, it'll get in the way though. So it depends on the windshield. Soak shields are. Oh wow, I'm super glad I'm scraping this windshield. There are some black specks up here that I just scraped off. Heck yeah. At least it's worth it. Okay, so I really like using soak shields on like all my windshields along with a towel, but if it's just too tight at the bottom, I'll use the towel or use the rope up until I'm pretty much ready to install it, because it's still doing its job and I'm not trying to tuck in the film against it right now. But it'll 100% get in my way on this one. So I'm just gonna keep it there, clean the windshield, and then I'll pull it and then I'll install it, you'll see. Especially on like Audis, even having a towel there can be really tough on certain windshields. They just don't give you space to like roll and tuck the film. So just do the best you can with it. Better to remove it and install the film once than do it twice or 3 times. So you just have so much extra water. Oh, and for the chat, no, it just... I actually have clients that like to watch their stream too, so... just be nice. And I got that thing on the other one. Really humid in the interior. What? Nothing out of the ordinary, that's for sure. One more time. I don't like to miss. Everything's overlapping, so when I'm going across the entire windshield, I don't like to miss any spots, because then I feel like there's added dirt there. Just gonna spray it. How often are windshields because of the climate? I do them really regularly now, and it's more for the looks, not so much the climate, but that's just kind of an average. I think at this point it's pretty split. We get plenty of people that just darken up their windshield for the look, and then probably about half of them also will upgrade at least into carbon or ceramic because the added heat. And if you're gonna get it, you know, your whole windshield done, it's not a big difference up front to just get a nicer film. The whole process of getting your car tinted is very involved, and might as well just upgrade the material while you're at it. Put this back down. Yes. Good. Oh yeah, we need this. We're gonna jump over to the other side. We're on a good battery, so we shouldn't have any connection problems. Is a dyed film not recommended for windshields? Well, if you want added heat rejection, then you have to go with a carbon or ceramic. But if you just want like good aesthetics, just want it to look darker, then 35 or 50 in a color stable is super good. No shame in that. Nowadays, you're hearing a lot more about carbon and ceramic, and hopefully it doesn't get too confusing. But carbon and ceramic, they're just added materials to help with heat rejection. It's the main goal of them. That's what they do. So it's a more stable coloring for a film, but that being said, I still have like color stable dyed films. So like, I wouldn't expect those to fade either. If they did, I'd be replacing them. Everything is a stretch. I don't know, not for everybody. But when you're choosing, like, getting a good tint job costs a fair amount of money. I mean, if you're chopping your budget to go over that, then, like, don't sweat it. You'll still be really happy with the film and the job that you get. At least out of here. I hope so anyways. That's what I aim for. Because there's a lot of, like, we talk a lot about it, but I mean, the main goals for a lot of people are just darkening up their car. They want it tinted. It's more comfortable when you don't have as much glare. So like, I think I don't know. Amongst tinners, people hear carbon and ceramic being talked about so much, so you almost think that the other films aren't worth it, and that's not true. It just depends on where your budget kind of lies and what you're looking for. I mean, of course, we make a little bit more money when we're installing more expensive jobs. It's part of being a business. So, like, we like them too. But if you just want a nice tint job on your car, then yeah, a good color stable film done by the right installer. Shit. There you go. Yeah, I only reverse roll windshields now. I think it's the better way to do it. Unless you have some extra help from people, but the problem that I was having was carrying this big of a piece of film on the windshield. It's too easy for a little part of the film to fold over and create a little bend. And then the more you foof around with the film, the harder it is, and the more little things that you get in your film. It just wasn't fun. So, watched some videos, talked to some people, and just kept practicing this way. And, I mean, from the first one that I did, it was just, it was a lot smoother. There's just no more, like, creases that pop up when you reverse roll a windshield. The whole thing is, like, flat. You're kind of unrolling it like a poster. So, the annoying part... Ooh, I can't explain it, actually, because we're getting some. Okay, expels lineup. Yes, they have CS. They have HP, which is metallized film. So, Expel doesn't actually have a carbon film, which makes a lot of sense when you look at where it's made. So they have CS, they have an HP, which is high performance, that's metallized. And then you have XR, which is ceramic, and then you have XR Plus, which is their super ceramic. So in GeoShield terms, that would basically be CS is color stable, that competes against Pro Classic. They're, wow, that is massive. What the fuck happened there? Take all this time being perfect and then get a fucking boulder there. That is huge. There's just a giant speck right there. Like, oh my god. Sorry. I actually like when it's a bigger speck. In most cases, because then it should be really easy to get out of the windshield, but like, that was nuts. So I'm hoping. In tinting terms, that was very large. When you have like a bigger hair in your film, or like a big speck, I don't know where they can come from, but sometimes they can be there. But they're really easy to see and really easy to work out. The really small ones will kind of embed in the glue and be a lot tougher. Thought I saw you do a Frankie the other day. That would be on a back window, not a front windshield. Front windshields are always reverse rolled. So maybe we're just talking about the wrong windshields. Be a little careful here. But that's really good now. Okay, cool. Always concerns me. But Pro Classic, color stable. So anybody's color stable dyed film, that's what it goes up against. The carbon, I guess, goes more up against their high performance, which carbon's going to be better for heat rejection. But yeah. What the heck? Uh-oh. Oh, I'm sad. Oh, I'm really sad now. There's like a... I wonder if that happened from this part. I don't know. Well... Yep. There is a... Yikes. Oh, I wonder... No, I don't think so. I wonder if that was from that boulder. No, that was higher up, though, so I don't know. I honestly am not sure here. There's, like, a huge... I don't think this is a zipper. But there's, like, a big gouge there. Which means that, that it'll stick out like a sore thumb. Way worse than... Actually, yeah, it'll just stick out a sore thumb. What a bummer. So we gotta prep this, we gotta shrink it, and we gotta install a new piece. That was too much. Whatever that was. I'm not even 100% sure. It looked like something scraped against the glue from the inside when I like squeegeed it out, but that's my best guess. You gotta Frankie it next time? No. Yeah, I'd rather have it happen on the back window or something if we're gonna redo it. I don't really like to do this windshield more than once, but hey, when it happens, it happens. I'd say that all seemed like it went really, really well. But that's part of the tinting business. Sometimes you do everything and you still have a problem. And then you just gotta do it again. I think it would have been a harder thing to notice for a little bit. So there was like a line down there. It wasn't like super apparent, especially against a 50% windshield. But not something I would be proud to turn out. Yeah, it looked like something gouged. It's because we were talking about different films. Okay. CS, color stable, HP, metallized. XR is going to go against Pro Nano ceramic. XR Plus is like a 95% IR ceramic. So that's going to go up against Apex. So I have there's a very, very nice shop. It is actually going to send me out all the different films. Or I think CS, XR, XR Plus, and then I want to do some comparisons there. Should be fun. I'm mainly interested in like the super ceramic category. You're gonna buy the new Apex? I have it all here. I put it on my car, and I wasn't the most impressed with the clarity of it. Like, without sun, awesome. With sun, it did a great amount of heat rejection, but at a little bit of a clarity cost. So I still think, like, Pro Nano was kind of the way to go out of that lineup. Because I felt like this with carbon way back when. Like, heat advantages are great. Explaining those for, like, with a heat lamp, like, it's super easy. But then if you install film on a car and then somebody's just like, hey, yeah, it's just my windows seem like they're harder to see out of now. It's like, that shouldn't be a thing. It should just be nice and clear. So they've come a long way, and some are better than others. But some need a little bit more of a push. I don't know. So I saw, like, a lot of the comments on my Walmart one where they're like, oh, I'd much rather have the heat than be able to see. And it's like, yeah, okay. For $20, whatever. When you're charging like 800 to 1,000, that's when I think everything should just be no question. No, it was low angle haze. It's not bad. It really isn't. But when you're kind of going up in the different films, dyed carbon, ceramic, super ceramic, it was like when you go from the ceramic to the super ceramic, there's a little bit of a clarity cost there for more heat rejection. And I don't like that trade-off. And it's very hard to explain. So if I put it on somebody's car, would they notice? The right person would, yeah. Most people, would probably be okay. There's people driving around with way worse films on their car that say they're amazing, so I don't even know for sure. Have you ever used 3M tint? Not a lot, but yeah, a little bit. They're color stable. At the time, it was just like super blue. .3M's a really hyped name. Their film is very expensive across most of their lineup. And then nano, carbon, and ceramic films came out, and you know, they just have a very expensive process for like their crystalline. But then the other kicker is like, okay, it's not even just expensive. Like the sample sheets we got, crystalline doesn't get any darker than a 40%. So, like, $1,000 tint job. Sorry, we don't have any darker than a 40%. Maybe they do now, but this wasn't that many years ago either. But it's a thing about ceramic. Ceramic only goes so dark. They have to color it with something. Can you tint in the sun? It's really tough. It's gonna dry out your window so fast. You really need to get in the shade. Tint indoors. Sun's one thing, wind is going to be really, really bad. Love the XR Plus when I felt it on a heat box. It's insane. Yeah, right? Like, all those super ceramic films are crazy. It's nuts. I want to see the whole picture, though. So on my... I don't know. On something. Probably the Blazer. I'm going to do... I'm going to do XR Plus. I'm going to do Apex. And then I'm still trying to figure out the other films. I'd love to get, you know, maybe Crystalline, maybe Pinnacle or Stratus. Put those up there and just do like an all-around. This is where the biggest name ceramic films are, and this is what you could expect in comparison from one to the next. I don't think we can all look at spec sheets. Spec sheets are only part of the story. They don't tell you what that film looks like. They really don't tell you what it feels like. But you should be happy with any of the films. But if I'm a shop and I'm looking for like what do I feel like is the best options, that's the point. And with like a lot of color stable films, you know, you're picking the color. You're picking the company and the shades. Like there isn't that much to it, and they're all gonna look really good on the car, pretty much. And then it's like, okay, which one's gonna last the longest? With ceramics, it's the clarity. The coloring and the clarity, so which one kind of comes out as what I'd prefer, but they all should be good options from what I hear. I just haven't had a chance to play around with all of them in person. Should contact. I know a couple 3M dudes. Get some crystalline. Crystalline is also a different shrinking process too. So like it's really not just okay, carry the most expensive film, and that's like the best film. It's definitely more to it than that. The CS is pretty good for a cheap line. Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's like their cheapest offering, but like here, when you start with a color stable film, you're starting with a good product. There's a lot of places that don't even start there. They just have whatever kind of garbage film that can save them the most amount of money. So when you're in that territory of like already quality brand, like no matter what you're getting a good film. You know, like AMD versus Intel. There's some advantages from one over the next, but you're getting good products either way. And that's good. Because more good tint shops is better, because then more people have good experiences. And what I like in my shop Might be a little different from what you like in your shop. So I want to put, I don't know, I just want to put a few shades head to head and then see. When I go down the road and I got half my windshield tinted with this film, do you know when you're going to be making the video? No, I'm not sure. I don't have them on hand yet. But I got to try and source a couple more if I want to add them. Because I don't have Pinnacle, I don't have Crystalline here. I can definitely try and get them. Don't think the companies are gonna want to send them. Kavica? It's not a name I hear enough yet. I want like the most common names that I hear. It's honestly Lumar, XPEL, and 3M are probably the most popular ones that I hear. But I would definitely love to see how something like that compares. It is funny though, with Lumar, 3M, and XPEL, they all come from different manufacturers. Black Magic. Actually, not a bad idea to like really show haze and then show the other ones in comparison. Actually would be a good idea. Yeah, that's it. XPEL has killed it with their branding and their advertise it. Mm-hmm. That's what most of the game is at this point. But all three of those are actually very different processes for their films from different manufacturers. So that's cool. Where if I take one of them and put them up against the other one, there'll be some clear differences, but like solar effects, probably not going to be much different than XPEL. Geoshield, same story. So why don't you use any of those three films? XPEL is territory. Lumar is a little arrogant. And 3M is generally overrated. But that's a good question. Just ask your Facebook group to send you every film brand. We'll see. I'm gonna make a post. I meant to make one the other day, but I totally forgot to. All right, now because we cleaned this very thoroughly already, we don't have to do anything nuts. We just have to spray it, squeegee it, and then we're good to go with the next piece. So the second piece, way more forgiving. My hybrid should be here today. Woo! Yeah, hybrid's a great squeegee, man. Just the feel of it. Thoroughly impressed with Prime XR Plus. That's good. Yeah, I'm not testing these because I've ever heard somebody say that they're bad. There's been I think one thing that I heard about the color of XR Plus. But what I want to get a baseline for is like, okay, this is where some of the top companies are for clarity in that range. That's like, I think, the main thing that I want to answer. And then what I would hope is just like, yeah, this is a great looking film. You'll love it on your car. XR plus bluish. Interesting. Is that across the whole range? Like including the 20%? Do you need any Lumar? Yeah, if you have Formula One, I would love to see it. See, I want to get films that people are saying, like, the clarity is awesome, and then I want to try it, and then I want to go, like, oh, I'm just too harsh on this. Or, no, it is amazing. Sometimes here I get stuck in my own head too much, and I just want a good reality check from everybody, so I can just, like, sometimes shut up a little bit more. Because I had this, so we did this one car on stream not long ago, and then his buddy came in, and he was asking about Apex, and I was just like, I'd be happy to install it, I just don't think it's as clear. XPEL XR Plus isn't as blue as Solar FX Plus. Oh. A little bit of blue is totally fine. It's when it becomes ocean blue that it's really gross. And especially when you get into some of the darker percentages. So if somebody wants the front doors to match the back, I like to have more of a neutral tone to it. Because if you have a strong bluish color, that's not going to be close enough, and front doors are such a huge part of business. Full cars, doesn't matter. On a car like this, it wouldn't matter. Whatever the tone of the film is, it's going to be consistent. It's when you have a lot of contrast. That's what I would have a problem with. Because I think the idea of having like a blue-ish film is cool. Like, that's what everybody sets their phones to. Like, having like more of a white bluish look. That's the same thing for headlights. Same thing with your glass. Yeah, a little bit of a, you know, your eyes adjust to it. It'll seem normal. $20 is more black than blue. Okay, cool. That's awesome. That's just what I want to know. But I gotta see it. I gotta see it in person now. But yeah, if somebody's like a Formula One dealer and want to send me some film, somebody's a 3M dealer and wants to send me some film, I'm gonna put this out in the group. And then we'll just get a big old hazy comparison. Like, you guys know I installed Geo. This isn't like trying to put anybody up or down. It's just, this is what a lot of people talk about. Is it amazing? I want to see it too. But yeah, I hope that little transparency there on how I feel with Apex kind of gives you a good perspective of like, I just always out to keep an eye out for what I feel like are good films, good companies. We'll probably split some hairs on like the heat lamp with numbers that honestly, if you put them all on your car, are you going to be able to tell a difference? Probably not. But anytime I've thought that, I've been pleasantly surprised with random films when I think everything's going to be normal. All of a sudden there's some glaring thing that I'm like, wait, what? And then everybody's like, oh yeah, that's just that. Like, oh, okay. Well, that all went really well, just like the first time. So cross your fingers, because we're about to check this out again. I think all my edges are covered. It seemed like it went pretty well. Nice. Very good. I heard XPEL made it to fit stock glass. Some are green, some are blue. Most are like tan or bluish, or sorry, tan or like greenish. Yeah, your factory privacy glass is all over the place. So when I say, like, I want it to match factory as good as I can, just having like a nice neutral tone. Don't go too strong in like the green, don't go too strong in the blue, and you'll be fine. That's about as good as it can, because we can't pick the color of our films. We can pick the shades, and we can get as close as we can with the different films that we have. But I've just been surprised with some that lean really hard in a color direction, and I don't think anybody likes that. We just want like nice neutral tone films that kind of has a good medium with everything. That's about all I'm looking for. Just anything that is just like, whoa, that's way different, or no, that looks great. Cool. I'm very happy with that. Well, this one went much better. I didn't notice anything alarming. No boulders. Smooth process. So we'll give it one more good ever-loving squeegeeing. Because, yeah, I think, like, there's enough sentiment, kind of continuing what I was saying, there's enough sentiment out there against, like, just ceramic is ceramic. Like, there's what us tinters think of films, and then there's what the general public says about films. And so many people are like, ceramic is ceramic. It's like, no. There's good, and then there's bad. And what does it mean when it's bad? That's what it means when it's bad. You can't see through it. Oh, dang. So we got, hopefully, what is the final squeegee? A little bit of touch-up. It would be good to see how the Lexan ceramic holds up against the big dogs. Oh, dang. I agree. It would be interesting, huh? I mean, I did that carbon comparison, and I could definitely see a difference. Showing that on camera was definitely a lot harder. Showing just shades on camera can be really tough because your camera adjusts for exposure, so your eyes are a lot more sensitive to all of this. But I agree. When you put it on a windshield, how's it compare? But that is part of the story, too. There's always the final thing with that is, like, can I trust this on other people's cars? Some people, no problem. They'll just throw it on all day long. I've been burned by a few film companies, so I don't take those chances anymore. Ooh, I like it. So this will look light with that towel too. Once we get that pulled out of there, doors shut. We got white towels. We got seat covers. We're gonna finish wiping this off. Is this 50 or 70? It's 50. Wait till I get this all buttoned up. Then you'll be like, oh, is that 50 or 35? Interior matters a lot. You know, anytime I see little water drips, I freak out. There's like one right here, and I'm like, panic attack. Oh, wait. Really? Oh, trying to decide between 50 and 35? Okay. 50 is a really, really nice shade to put on a windshield. I like it a lot. I have it on my own cars. I love 35 too, but 35 stands out a lot more. 35 driving around is like, my windshield's tinted. 50 is like, yeah, I got some tint on my windshield. So that's how I always felt with 35. It just stands out a lot more. Blocks out, in my opinion, like the perfect amount of glare. Was really comfortable to drive around with. Love the look. But there's those times you're driving around with it and you're just like, yeah, I wish this was a little bit lighter. Okay, I'm good? All right, cool. Super nervous about driving around with 35, then I'd go with 50. Just go with what you're more comfortable with. Unless you can just redo it yourself and it's no big deal. If you're like having somebody install it for you, then yeah, I'd go with the safer option there. I mean, I don't think anybody should really feel nervous to drive around in their own car. So, is the anxiety worth it? Probably not. Maybe not. Some of the time, yes, and some of the time, no. Yay! $50. How is it at night? I love 35 at night. I didn't have a problem with it. I had nice bright headlights too, though. So, like, it blocks out a good amount of glare, so that means that, yes, everything is darker. But with bright white headlights, everything looks like I can see perfectly fine. I didn't feel like it was dangerous. All right, have we tinted for long enough now? I think so. I'm gonna pull these out so you can get a good, watch how much this is gonna change. So most of the doors were open. I gotta put that mirror back in too, by the way. But first, let's just close a couple things up. That's what I want the most is glare reduction. Ugh, tough choice then. I understand the struggles. You're not gonna quite get it with 50, not as much. It's helpful, but it's not as much as 35. So all my light is on the outside of the car. So that's why cars always look dark when you shut all the doors and everything, right? All the points of lights are now gone. So now that windshield, dark interior, you can't really see in there near as much. But when you get some sunlight, like in person now, I can see the steering wheel, the dash, and the seats a little bit. When we pull it outside, you'll be able to see it a little bit better. But 50% blends these sides in with the rest of the windshield a lot more. It's a nice shade. I like it a lot. And kind of, I don't know how to say this. It enhances like reflections from the sky a little bit more. So it's kind of like plays a little trick where it's not that dark of a film, but it might appear a little bit darker because this is facing upwards and all those like cloudy reflections and stuff seem a little bit stronger now. But when you're sitting in the car, it's just easy peasy to see through. I like it. Looks good. Dang. Alrighty, good deal. I should put this mirror in here, and then we'll call it a day. This back window looks like it's all pretty much dried out, nice. Just a couple little things at the bottom that I can seal up a little bit better. So this is 20 on all the sides in the rear, 50 on the windshield. Oh yeah, it's on the other side. Let me go grab that. This turned out really, really nice. Very, very happy with it. How much for the same car, same shades? Oh yeah, and it's ceramic on the front. So it just kind of depends on the film type that you want to go with. In the carbon, it's $350 for all the sides in the rear. And then $250 for the windshield. In ceramic. Sorry, it's ceramic. $200 for carbon. Let's make sure. This is the tricky part about. There we go. Oh, that one wasn't too bad. Getting that to clip back in just the right spot on the Rams. I thought I might have to have the same problem here, but it can just be a little tricky trying to get everything all perfectly like snap back together. There we go. Nice. I like it. That all went back together. Really nice and easy. But it doesn't have like any cameras, no big ADAS system. That's why I took it off. Got it out of the way, made the windshield that much easier to do. Woo! Looking good. That's gonna be the stream today. Nice. I think with that redo, that was long enough, right? What did that take? Like an extra 30, 40 minutes to redo the windshield? Canon. How many cars do you do on the day regular? I do about one right now, like one full car, and it's almost picked up to the point where we're basically just gonna do alternate streaming days and then tint days. The part where I struggle with is there's a lot of people now that really have seen the channel. So they like to see their cars on stream too. They're not like really requesting it, but it's one of those things where like, oh, you're doing it on the channel? So I always like to accommodate for that. So I guess I'm just going to have to ask ahead of time if you want your car streamed or not. And then just kind of like alternate days and stuff. So I can do a few more cars. And then have like my streaming days. That probably makes the most amount of sense. Because we've pretty much been streaming every car that comes in here lately. And it takes more time. So we are going to shout out some super dupers. Alrighty. Thank you to all the super chats today. Dan, DC Customs, Daniel Reyna, and Daniel Reyna. Much appreciated to all of you guys. That always helps things out. Whoa, my window is being very wonky. Oh, they fixed my issue. Oh, okay. Well, at least it was only once, and I found a temporary solution, so that's good. Maybe we'll just do that. Maybe we don't need restream anymore. It's still awesome that they asked to see their cars getting tinted. I know, right? And that's that toss-up. Like, I had ideas when I was trying to do all this, but those are all theories, right? And then to actually have it, like we've been doing this for over a year now, to actually have people coming in because they saw the videos, they saw cars being streamed, and then, then they get to see their car being on stream. That's super cool. So most people don't say that part. Most people are like, I've seen the videos, that's really cool. I really appreciate the attention to detail and everything that you put in. That's why I'm coming here. So, and then you tell them you're streaming it, and then they're like, oh, sweet. Oh, damn. So it's been fun. Don't forget. I wonder how this is going to sound.
Sean super chatted $5. Don't forget about me.
Well, we're definitely not going to forget about you, Sean. Thank you so much for the 5. Don't forget about me. That was a good one. I always like when people have fun with the voice. Just want to thank you, total newbie. Watch your videos over and over to learn. I practiced for the last 2 weeks and finally getting good results tinting. Damn, in 2 weeks. That's awesome, man. Keep it up. That is super cool to hear. I didn't think it would make that sound. Sometimes I'm surprised, but the super chat voice actually has a really, it does really well with a lot of words. So when you throw out some weird stuff, it gets funny. Any kid activities in the area, like water park, aquarium, zoo, or anything? There's the Detroit Zoo. We do have that. There's like Dave & Buster's. That's kind of all around the country. I'm trying to think of anything like unique here. I'd have to think about it a little bit more. Michigan, Detroit, there is stuff to do. Michigan has a lot of parks though, and outdoor things, and then it snows and gets cold for over half the year, and it gets kind of sad. We have lots of good food places too. And I think there was like a trampoline place not too far from here. And Zap Zone and all your other normal stuff. What if you type random letters? Then it'll try and do its best with it. Some are really funny and some are not. But yeah, we're pretty much at the end of it today. I was just checking things. because I've pretty much ignored my phone for the entire workday. Next stream, not tomorrow. I think Wednesday. Wednesday, I got something else coming in. I got personal day tomorrow. Have you been to Motown Museum? No, I haven't. And we got like science museums and the Ford museums. Ever since COVID wiped through, though, I don't know if some of those places are open yet. Some of them are like real iffy, where they used to be open and then they got kind of like closed, and then they're just in limbo where they may open eventually. Motown Museum says temporarily closed. Kind of a bummer. Great stream. Thanks for giving me something to watch while I work. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for watching. That's cool. Alrighty, I'm gonna sign off here today. Because if I'm not streaming tomorrow, then there's a chance that I'll be back Wednesday. But it is a later afternoon thing too, so I don't know. We'll probably be doing something. This past week was very, very consistent with appointments. I still have appointments this week. It's just gotta try and weigh some of those options if I'm gonna stream every day, if I'm gonna get some other stuff done. So I'm not quite sure what the schedule looks like yet, but I'm guessing then Wednesday. Alrighty, I will see you guys later. I gotta deliver this one. Gotta let them know. So y'all have a good one. Thank you for watching. Bye.